Hello, and welcome to another edition of Insight, a Greater Cleveland Partnership feature that focuses upon areas of interest to the Northeast Ohio business community. I'm Alicia Washington, and joining me today is Greg Peckham, Executive Director of Land Studio, and Jade Davis, Vice President of External Affairs for the Port of Cleveland. Today we're going to talk about the Capital Bill, guys. So the Capital Bill is a process that happens every 2 years. Within that process, there is an allotment of funds for community projects across the state. GCP typically does put together a recommended list of projects that we believe are important to the region. And if you want to see the full list, there'll be a link below where you can go to our website and view that. But today we want to focus on two projects that are kind of centered around Irishtown Bend. So let's start with some basics. Greg, what is Irishtown Bend and why should the community care about it?
Sure. Irishtown Bend is a 17-acre green space hillside, pretty much abandoned land at this point. People can sort of visualize it as the area on the west side of the Cuyahoga River from the west side market to the Detroit Superior Bridge. The land has been unusable for decades, and the vision for Irishtown Bend, which is really community-driven, is about a 17-acre hillside park that connects a really vibrant neighborhood in downtown to the riverfront and out to Lake Erie.
Great. Now, Jade, the port has had an interest in Irishtown Bend from a kind of economic business case. Can you talk a little bit about that and what your state capital bill request is related to that?
Well, thanks, Alicia. One, the port's involvement stems from the documented at least 40-year history of instability that we know has existed there on the hillside. And you can see evidence of that with what used to be Riverbed Street, that in some parts is between 6 and 10 feet in difference of elevation from one side of the street to the other. So it's very stark, the destabilization of the hillside. But what that means for the Cuyahoga River and the Cuyahoga River Federal Navigation Ship Channel is that any kind of collapse or any partial or could be full collapse could completely stop shipping and materials from moving up and down the river. That will have irreparable harm on our local economy and also the regional and state economy, given how many products that are made along the river are going to the supply line of various manufacturers throughout this region and throughout this state. So everything from the ArcelorMittal steel mill to the mouth of the river adjacent to the Port of Cleveland docks is about a 6-mile channel. There's about 20,000 jobs that depend on the river and the Port of Cleveland docks of maritime traffic. And so any kind of threat to those jobs is something that we care very deeply about, and we have sort of led the charge in stabilizing the hillside, and this request is just another step in that direction. We would like to use the $4 million to install bulkheads, metal steel bulkheads on the hillside, and to make sure that it's a permanent fix and a long-term fix.
Great. So that deals kind of with the bottom of the hillside along the river, bulkhead installation. If you go to the top of the hillside, you know, Greg, Land Studio has played a very vital role in terms of the work that needs to happen there. You have $1 million request in. What would it do?
Yeah, the Port Authority would be focused on stabilizing the edge of the river channel. The focus of our proposal is on the top of the hillside. We were fortunate to get a $1.4 million grant from the Clean Ohio Fund from the state of Ohio. That will allow us to acquire about 15 of the 17 acres necessary to create the green space. It will also allow us to take down a series of vacant and blighted properties at the top of the hillside on West 25th Street. So the $1 million request that we have into the state now will be the first sort of domino to help sort of lead to that vision to create the first section of the park and green space, which will be really a neighborhood gateway and overlook to the Cuyahoga River.
Great. Well, thank you, guys. And thank you for watching another edition of Insight. Stay tuned in the weeks and months ahead as we continue to focus upon areas of interest to the greater Cleveland business community.